People, the day is upon us. Chelsea take on Manchester United at Old Trafford. It is a game that in days gone by would have decided Premier League titles, but at this moment in time, those days are very much gone by because neither team are where they would like to be at this moment in time. So much so that some people are even calling this game El Modico. Harsh, but quite funny. I have said time in, time out that Chelsea are the better side than Man United at the moment. Chelsea are the side that are closer to finding their feet. We've got the better manager and we've got the better squad depth. But all of that ultimately means nothing if we don't beat Man United and finish above them in the league. And I know what you're thinking. I'm going to beat you to it. Why is Chelsea's only aim to finish above Man United in the league? Because I am a realist and I understand it. Until I see us put together 4 or 5 wins on the bounce, I don't really feel like I could be mentioning us pushing for Champions League football at this moment in time. So finishing above Man United is my renewed goal. And now we're fresh off the back of a win against Brighton. The law of averages would suggest that we've got to beat these boys at some point. And to quote Kevin Keegan, I would love it if we beat them. Right, people, what's happening and welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, at the end of the video, if you like the content and you want to see more from myself, please hit the subscribe button and also click the bell so that you get a notification every time one of my videos goes live. In this video, I will be giving my starting 11 pick, not the pick that I think Pochettino will go with, the starting 11 that I want to see run out at 8:15 tonight under the bright lights at Old Trafford. I'm going to give my final thoughts on the game, and I want you guys to remember that I will be live for this game on the kickoff with my friend Brian, the true Geordie, so make sure you are there ready to watch along with us. Right, so let's get into the team, and in goal, I'm going to go with Robert Sanchez. As the games go on, I think we're seeing more and more from Robert Sanchez. His shot stopping is actually of a very, very decent ability. With his feet, there's a little bit to be desired. The problem is, I actually think he can play out from the back and play with his feet, but sometimes his judgment is poor. Sometimes his timing isn't quite there, but I do think as the games go on, we are seeing a steady progression. Where will that progression lead to? Will Robert Sanchez ever be Chelsea's number one? I don't think until I see more from him, I can hang my hat on saying that he will be Chelsea's number one, but I do definitely think he's good enough at this moment in time, and just to get it in there, he is a lot better than Andre Onana, who I very much hope starts in goal for Man United, and if he does, I would advise the boys to be shooting from anywhere on the pitch. Right back, I am going with my captain, Reece James. He will be back. He had a bit of a moment of madness against Newcastle, but I'm not too fussed about it because Reece James will be back. He'll be back with a point to prove. I know Reece James does look on social media and does see some of the stuff that's said about him, and a lot of people have given him a lot of stick since he was sent off against Newcastle, and I am very happy that they have given him that stick because I know that Reece James is going to have a fire in his belly for this game, and he is going to come back with a vengeance, putting in a stellar performance in that backline. Joining him in the backline will be Thiago Silva and Benoit Badiashile, and on the left back slot I am going to have Levi Colwill. Now obviously that means that I won't have Axel Disasi in there. Axel Disasi is a player I rate. I think that for the most part, he doesn't put a foot wrong, but I would put those 3 defenders I've picked slightly ahead of him. Now, I know we're going to have Cucurella back available for selection after his latest suspension, but I do think that Levi Colwill in that left-back slot is for me the option I want at the minute. I've made this point before, so if you've heard me make it, stick around for 20 seconds, but I'm going to say it. As we go forward, I see Reece James bombing on. Then I think the backline becomes a 3, and I think that if I look at a backline 3 of Silva, Badiashile and Colwill, it looks more sturdy. Defensively, it looks better than if I was to have Cucurella in there. In the midfield, this is where we've got a problem because Conor Gallagher's out, and I do think we'll miss him, but I am going with Caicedo, Enzo, and Cole Palmer in the 10, which, let's be honest, I think we'd all agree is his better position. I know that Cole Palmer is that talented that you can stick him on the right wing, where we've seen him play in weeks gone by, and he's still going to put in good performances, but I think his creativity is slightly wasted, as when he's on that right wing, a lot of the time he's only got one option of where to pass to or what side to pass to because he's so close to the touchline. But I think when he operates in the middle there, he can cause some damage. I do think he will cause some damage. Let's move on to the front line. Right wing, I'm going Raheem Sterling. He turns up in the bigger games. He scored even against Newcastle in a game that I didn't think was electric, Sterling, but he still got on the goal with the goal sheet, I should say, with a really, really good goal. And I do think that Raheem Sterling will turn up in this match against Man United under the bright lights. No doubt Southgate will be watching, and no doubt no matter what Sterling does, he's still not going to pick him. But anyway, enough talking about that idiot. Left wing, I'm going Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, I said that I wasn't overly impressed by Mykhailo Mudryk after his showing against Brighton. And actually, I've watched the game back. I've watched parts of the game back. I didn't sit and watch 110 minutes of football back, but I've watched extended highlights. And you know what? Mudryk did have a couple of moments of brilliance. Mudryk did make something out of nothing a couple of times. But when I'm looking at Mykhailo Mudryk, and in that game gone by, seeing as we did have Conor Gallagher, I was looking at the potential of starting Mudryk over Cole Palmer. I just didn't agree with it. I don't think the little moments of brilliance every now and again, which let's not remember aren't at the moment resulting in goals or assists for the most part. I don't think those little moments of brilliance are enough for me to say that he is offering more to the team than Cole Palmer. But I'm very, very eager for it to come good with Mykhailo Mudryk, man. I really want it to. I'm not a Mudryk hater. I'm not someone that doesn't think Mudryk's any good. But I'm just saying that despite, okay, he hasn't had a steady run of games together, at this point in time, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from Mykhailo Mudryk. In the number 9 position, this one's hard. And a lot of you aren't going to like this. I'm going to come under a lot of stick for this. But I've got to go with my gut. And I'm starting Amanda Broja. The Nicholas Jackson has 6 goals in 13 games, but the hat-trick skews those stats a little bit as he's only actually scored in 4 of those 13 Premier League games. And I think that people are rightly so giving his hold-up play a lot of credit at the moment, but I do think that that's something that Broja can do just as well. Do I think that Nicholas Jackson's rubbish? No. I think Nicholas Jackson's a good player. I think he'll come good. But at the moment in time, I've seen enough that I need to see from him just yet for me to be able to go into this match and go, right, I don't think that Nicholas Jackson's the game winner for us here. In years to come, can he be the game winner for us? Yeah, I'm sure he can at some point, but at this moment in time, I don't think he's the man that can win us the game against Man United. Now, you're going to say to me, well, what has Broja shown you to say that he's the man that can win the game against Man United? And I'll tell you, he hasn't shown me all that much, but he didn't deserve to play second fiddle to Nicholas Jackson for the whole season anyway, because I thought that Broja was pretty good when we saw him at times last season, especially so when Nicholas Jackson isn't scoring in every single game and isn't looking likely to score in every single game and coming close to it. You could say, okay, but he got an assist against Brighton. I completely understand that, and I rate Nicholas Jackson for getting that assist, but is that so much about his pure ability, or is it to do with where he is on the pitch? And I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying we need to draw a line under this and say that if I, for example, pick Amanda Broja ahead of Nicholas Jackson, it doesn't make me a Nicholas Jackson hater. It doesn't mean I'm disrespecting Nicholas Jackson. It means I want the best for this team. And in my opinion, I think that Amanda Broja can offer more in this match for the team. If Nicholas Jackson starts and proves me wrong and gets on the goal sheet, I will be so happy to eat my words, which you will see me do straight away in a video that will go out straight away after the match with myself and Brian. So if I'm eating my words, then Nicholas Jackson starts and scores, brilliant. And if I'm not eating my words, I won't be sitting there gloating about it because I have no agenda against Nicholas Jackson. Sounds like I'm going in here, but I was a little bit rattled by some of the comments because everyone's saying to me the amount of disrespect I'm putting on Nicholas Jackson. I like him. He's a Chelsea player. I support him. I back him. There's nothing wrong with me giving my opinion that at this moment in time, he's not a match winner for us. That's just my opinion. I'd love him to prove me wrong. But I am starting Amanda Broja in that position. I think Broja, if we can see a little bit more of the Broja we saw before his injury, I think we could be on to really good things there. Now, obviously, if I had the choice, which I don't, Conor Gallagher will be in that midfield because I look at the midfield and I think, brilliant. Okay, Enzo, really good technically. Palmer, really good technically. And the way he holds onto the ball is very good. I thought when he came on against Brighton, he did a good job in keeping possession for us. Caicedo, we know what he's about. He gets about interceptions, tackles, but not the most physical. More the sort of player you're like, oh, go away, you know what I mean? Because he's just on you. But Caicedo, brilliant. But the midfield lacks a bit of physicality. And I think that, okay, Bruno Fernandes, he's not physical in the slightest, and he don't really want to get stuck in like that and run about too much. Kobbie Mainoo, he's looking a good player. He's young. McTominay, we know what we get from him. A little bit disrespected at times. I don't think he's elite level or anything like that, but I think he does a job, and he's probably their version of a Conor Gallagher. I do rate Conor Gallagher higher than I do Scott McTominay. However, I think on a first glance, maybe you're looking at both midfields and you're going, well, it doesn't look that physical. And with Gallagher's absence and, the other suspensions we've got on the list list of injuries. We've got Ugachukwu, a player that was in there, in and around this Chelsea side, who's now also out injured. You're looking at our bench and you're going, we really haven't got many options of players to bring on. We've got Madueke, we've got Ian Maatson, brilliant. But other than that, in the central midfield positions, we've got hardly anyone. And then I look at the fact that we're not that physical and we've got no options off the bench. So here's what I think there's a chance Poch could do. I think as the game goes on, providing Reece is feeling fit and, he's all right on the pitch, I think there's a chance that we see Reece James move forward a little bit into the middle of the park. We did see him do so against Arsenal when he came back from injury and Malo Gusto stayed on the pitch. Also, I know it's a long time ago, but Reece James used to play in the middle for Wigan. When you look at Reece James, he holds on to the ball well. Very, very physical, good passing range. I think he could do a job there in the middle as the game goes on if we need him there, if we're lacking a little bit of physicality and intensity there. So I think we could definitely see that. And, off the bench, we could maybe see a Malo Gusto, a Cucurella, even an Axel Disasi who played at right back in the last match. We could see one of them brought on as defensive reinforcements. And as for United, I can't lie, I'm not massively worried about them. I understand they hold their threats. I'll tell you what, I'd love to see Varane in that back line because as much as I raised an eyebrow when I saw Luke Shaw starting at centre-back, I know he did it last season at times, but I did sort of raise a bit of an eyebrow there. Luke Shaw was pretty good, I thought, in that last match against Newcastle. I don't actually think United defended that badly because that was a one-sided match. That was a beatdown. And to only come away from it shipping one goal, is not that bad at all. So I think Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire, to give him his props, did really well in that match. And if we have Shaw and Maguire to face rather than, let's say, Maguire and Varane, I think is a tougher prospect for us to break through that backline. I think Shaw is now a wise head on his shoulders, and I do think that Luke Shaw's going to be able to organise that backline very well. So he's a player that I'm not worried about, but I think we'd have more joy if you had Varane in there and obviously a Lindelof or someone like that. When it comes to the midfield, again, Kobbie Mainoo's getting a lot of praise. Haven't probably watched him closely enough, although I have watched him live a couple of times to really give him all that much praise. Scott McTominay, like I said, you know what you're going to get. Bruno Fernandes, he can turn up. He was brilliant against Galatasaray at times, but let's be honest, if we are able to take a leaf out of Newcastle's book and take it to Man United like they did and like they did against us, then I think we can overrun them there. And when we go forward and look at Man United's front line, Garnacho, he's been scoring, but I'd say that's more moments of brilliance, because I watched the Galatasaray match in full, I watched the Everton match in full, where he scored one of the best goals the Premier League's ever seen. But other than those goals, I didn't think he played all that well. He didn't play badly, I'm just saying. The goals maybe elevated how we thought his performance went. Højlund, if he plays, now, he didn't play in the last match. Obviously, he didn't start in the last match. Martial was there. I'd love to see Martial because I'll tell you what, as much as I've had a little bit of tongue-in-cheek banter about Højlund in the video yesterday, I do rate him and I am fearful of him. And I do think that Højlund is a player that is in the mould of a Haaland type, not just by his name sounding similar. I think that he has that physicality attribute that Haaland's got on the pace, and I could see him giving our backline problems, but we don't even know if he's going to start. And you look at why he's not going to start. We are hearing that Man United have lost half the dressing room. It's funny, isn't it? Because when Sky put it out, everyone's gone, yeah, they've lost half the dressing room. But when that idiot Chelsea fan, Joey Knight, said it on the kickoff a couple of weeks ago, no one believes me. I said he had lost half the dressing room, and clearly he has. And that means that he won't be starting the players he thinks best to do the job. He'll be starting the players that will play for him. And when you think that half the squad we're being told aren't playing for Ten Hag, do you not think that maybe and hopefully there's a chance they just down tools in this match and think, do you know what? If we lose to Chelsea, you pretty definitely get the sack. So either way, we're going to see something here. We're either going to see this match be the turning point and save Ten Hag's job, or we're going to see Chelsea finally win at Old Trafford. We haven't done it in so long, and lose Ten Hag his job. I think it will be the latter, I really, really do. But saying that, I think because of the way Chelsea are at the moment, you can never guarantee anything going into a Chelsea game, apart from the fact that there is a massive, massive chance you're going to be entertained. I am going to go with a score prediction of 2-1 to Chelsea. But I don't know whether I'm going with my head or my heart, because do you know what my head says? And this is really, really weird. I'll pull this back and act like I'm Harry Houdini if I get this. But my head's just saying 3-3 draw for some reason. I really think this could just be another one of those crazy games, and I think the crazy games will be coming thick and fast, and we'll continue to the end of the season with this Chelsea side. But people, I just wanted to give you lot my final thoughts on the game, my starting lineup. What are you lot saying? I want score predictions in the comments below. What do you think of that starting lineup? Do you think that Amanda Broja should be given his chance in this match, or would you stick and persevere with Nicholas Jackson? Maybe you think that I am wrong picking Broja there, and that will be one of the talking points here, so I definitely want to hear your thoughts on it. And if Chelsea beat Man United, does Ten Hag go? Does he get the sack? I think he possibly does. Remember, people, I will be live with my friend Brian on the kickoff tonight. I think we're going live from 8 p.m. We will just be us two there, so we'll be reading out the chats, obviously getting your super chats in. That will be helpful for us, but we'll be reading out the chat as well. So make sure you're there, make sure you're interacting, because more than likely, a lot more than likely, when it's on the kickoff with the normal panel of guests, we are going to be reading through the chat. So make sure you get there, get in the comments on that, and watch us watch the game. People, thank you for joining me in another video. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already, and I will see you all in the next one.